Mu kiro ekyakeesezza olunaku olwaleero as in yesterday ekiro eno twabadde twebase mu America bwabadde butunula omukulembeze Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine yalabiddwako mu lukuŋŋaana olumu olwabaddeko enkuyanja z'abantu gwe ssebo bannyabo atulaba wano we yasinzidde n'ategeeza eggwanga engeri gye yasobola okusimattukamu ab'amagye abali bateekeddwa ewuwe ku orders z'okusaanyaawo obulamu bwe gwe ssebo bannyabo bino Kyagulanyi yabyogedde ng'Abamerika balaba baliŋŋanga abalaba firimu movie Kali Lugambo Pro Max nze nabagamba ngenda ddunoonya ndubawe twabadde twebase nze nduguddeko ne ŋŋamba abantu b'okuva Strange ne Empire tebalina kusubwa nsonga eno yesterday we yabadde mu meeting emu ng'amaze okuva ku Capitol Hill gye yabadde ne meetings endala yasisinkanye enkuyanja y'abantu mwe yayitiddwa okubeera nga keynote speaker mu kye tuyita Onero political discussion ey'omwaka gwa 2026 Bobi Wine was one of the speakers. Njagala owulirize gwe ssebo bannyabo ebigambo Kyagulanyi bye yayogedde bwe yasisinkanya abantu bano ati tukomewo tovaawo.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be on this panel with distinguished panelists. My name is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. My real name is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. I always keep complaining that my musical stage name slowly but surely overtook my real name. However, I'm consoled because it's much easier to pronounce. So please call me Bobby. I strongly believe that I shouldn't be the one here, especially if in the room we have my extraordinarily strong wife, Barbara Kyagulanyi. Who I believe is one of the strongest women that I know. And in addition to that, in the house we have my sister Agatha Atreide. She's a lawyer and activist, and she has gone through so much that I believe not so many can stand. However, since today I'm the one invited and I'm the one having a nectar in my neck, I believe I represent them. I've listened to the panelists. However, I strongly believe that if it's to talk about repression, if it's to talk about gross human rights violations, if it's to talk about cross-border repression, if it's to talk about dictatorship, then Uganda should be the country to come first. Uganda is a country of close to 50 million people under the firm grip of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for 40 years and counting. He took power by barrel of the gun in 1986, and up to now, he's still in charge of our country. He is famously quoted to have said the problem with Uganda in particular and Africa in general are the leaders that overstay in power. But now it's a very big crime to remind him of what he said when he was my age. I am here not on invitation, not voluntarily. I'm here because I ran away, I escaped from my country. On January 15th, we had a presidential election, which I strongly believe we won. I was the main challenger of General Museveni. We had an election where the internet was switched off 2 days to the election, and it remained off for a week. We had an election where immediately after I cast my vote, I was put under house arrest with my wife. But before that, days before, many dozens of our party officials were rounded up and detained. My two deputy presidents, who are women, were abducted a day before the election, and they remained missing for 2 weeks. When they resurfaced, they told an ordeal of being detained in a military barracks supervised by General Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is actually the Chief of Defense Forces in Uganda. Many people were abducted, they've not been seen again. My deputy president for the Buganda region, the most populous region, had his house raided by the military. See, women play a big role in our elections. They are the organizers. And when somebody is running, we tend to have our tally centers where we collect the declaration of result forms. The women tend to play the most important role of compiling the results. Now the military raided the house of Honorable Mwanga Chikundi and shot into the house, killing 10 people in his house, 8 of which were women. Now I'm only talking about the ones that are known, but as we speak, thousands of our supporters are in jails. The difference between 2026 and 2021, because I ran in 2021 as well, is that in 2021 there was still a semblance of cover-up. However, in 2026, because the son of the president, who also doubles as the Chief of Defense Forces, the Army Commander, does not pretend to be a good dictator. He will kill people and he will take pride in it. He will post on social media about it. He was proud to post that I have killed 24 of National Unity Platform, which is the political party I lead. I've killed 24 of NUP members, and I'm so willing, I'm looking forward to kill the 25th, which I want to be Bobby. Now Bobby is me. He ordered for my execution, and indeed my house was raided on the 16th of January, and I was lucky because we had gotten some good lessons in 2026. I played James Bond and escaped from my house. Yeah, it would be funny if it was inside. You know, I left my house a few days later. My house was raided again because my wife remained under house arrest. This time, the soldiers broke into my house, only men. They beat up my wife so bad and my other family members, they stripped her naked. Meanwhile, they were filming. And like I said, the son of the president, who also is the commander of the military, takes pride in torture, especially torturing vulnerable people like women. He was proud to post the image of my wife subdued on the floor with soldiers with guns. And he said, yeah, this is the picture when he captured Kabobi's wife, and she was forced to tell us where the husband was. I remained on the run. I mean, so much of that. It is not only happening with my wife. He abducted my bodyguard and long-term friend Eddie. We looked for him for 2 weeks. We complained everywhere until in the middle of the night he tweeted and said, don't look for him. I'm holding him in my basement and I'm teaching him Munyankole. Now Munyankole is the language of the tribe where General Museveni comes from. And indeed, when Eddie showed up, he was all shaved, beaten, but unfortunately, when he was taken to court, he was not given a chance to go to the ICU in hospital. He was thrown in jail and he stayed in jail. Now, these stories have gone on and on and on and on and on and on. The repression, the abuse of human rights in Uganda is worse and worse and worse as it keeps going. When people talk about the same, I understand when you talk about Tanzania, in Kenya, but like Trevor Noah one time joked, said in Uganda, it is worse. What makes it even worse is that those that we look up to are not looking for accountability. I like that Otieno talked about it. It is not accountability and justice that is looked for, but political settlements. No wonder so many political players are silenced or compromised. We have what is supposed to be the highest moral body, the Interreligious Council. Now, the Interreligious Council comprises of religious leaders, leaders of all the religious sects that come together in what is supposed to be a moral body. They went to my house when I was being looked for. when the son of the president was tweeting every day, giving me 48 hours to show up or you'll find me and kill me, ordering soldiers to look for me everywhere and kill me. Again, my wife and family was under house arrest. They did not have food because nobody was allowed to go in my house or come out of my house. But when the interreligious council went to my house, what they were asking my wife to do, number one, there were two things. First is to warn me not to destabilize the country. And two, asking whether I'm willing to sit down with General Museveni. And I've said it many times, that we are not disagreeable to dialogue, but not transactional dialogue. And also reasserting ourselves that it's only free people that negotiate, and our action and what works for our country and individual. Now this has also been a big problem to us. We find ourselves in the United States and not in any country in Africa. Why? Because we believe that it is countries like the United States that wield power and influence over authoritarians like General Museveni. We are aware that for a long time the United States was giving up to $1 billion annually to Uganda in security cooperation. So we have always been requesting not just the United States but other developing partners like the EU and the UK, that this aid should be conditioned to values that we all profess: democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Unfortunately, it has many times played up as if the US and other developing partners are only interested in diplomacy and not democracy. And that we believe that the more we and you friends echo that desire, that is what's going to work. Many times the US seems to be persuaded by security cooperation, but not democracy, not the promotion of human rights, which is very disturbing in our case. Now, Professor mentioned it